Lily Bennett vanished without a trace, and Martin Keller's dark plan was unfolding in secret. What happened next would shock an entire town. It was an ordinary Monday morning when Lily Bennett's parents noticed something was wrong. Their 13-year-old daughter had not come down for breakfast, and when they called her name, there was no response. Her bed was neatly made, but her backpack and jacket were gone. At first, they assumed she had simply left early for school, but when the bus passed without her, panic set in. They tried calling her, but the phone went straight to voicemail. Neighbors were asked if they had seen anything unusual, and a few mentioned seeing Lily ride her bike toward the park, waving at a friend along the way. That seemed innocent enough, but something in their hearts told them this was different. Within an hour, the local police were contacted, and officers arrived to take a report. They immediately issued an alert to the community, requesting anyone with information to come forward. Investigators began reviewing the security cameras in the area. One store AS footage showed Lily stopping to tie her shoelace near the corner of a parking lot, unaware that a man in a dark hoodie was observing her. The man's movements were deliberate, careful, as though he had been waiting for her. When Lily resumed riding her bike, the man followed closely in a white van, keeping pace without alarming anyone around. At a critical moment, Lily hesitated at a crosswalk, and the man approached, extending a hand. She paused, looked around, and after a few moments, she followed him toward the van. The footage ended there, showing the vehicle driving away slowly, blending into the early morning traffic. Police canvassed the streets, knocking on doors and questioning anyone who might have seen something unusual. Social media began circulating Lily's photo with descriptions of her clothing, backpack, and last known location. Her school sent emergency notifications to parents, urging vigilance. Every officer knew that time was a crucial factor. The longer a child was missing, the greater the danger. Search teams organized patrols in nearby parks, alleys, and vacant lots, but there was no trace of her beyond the surveillance video. Detectives began looking into local tips and started profiling the suspect. They gathered every detail from the neighborhood, the white van, the man's appearance, and even subtle clues about his behavior. A sense of urgency filled the air as news spread through the town. Parents kept their children close, and residents wondered if someone they passed daily could be hiding a sinister intent. For Lily's parents, the fear was unbearable. Every passing hour stretched the tension, leaving them desperate for answers. As the day wore on, the investigation deepened. Officers checked traffic cameras, highways, and potential escape routes, attempting to reconstruct the man's path. They contacted neighboring jurisdictions, warning them of the suspect and his vehicle. Each lead was pursued relentlessly, yet the trail seemed to vanish into thin air. The combination of careful planning by the man and the unpredictability of city streets created an invisible maze that threatened to keep Lily out of reach. The community watched, waiting, hoping that the next clue would bring the missing girl home safely. Detectives worked tirelessly to uncover the identity of the man who had taken Lily. His name was Martin Keller, a 42-year-old with a history that immediately set off alarm bells. He had been arrested years earlier for crimes involving minors, though he had managed to avoid long-term incarceration. Authorities quickly discovered that Keller had spent time moving between towns, leaving minimal traces and rarely staying in one place for long. His reputation painted a picture of a man who was cunning, methodical, and experienced at avoiding detection. Investigators knew that understanding his patterns could be the key to finding Lily alive. As police dug into Keller's digital life, they uncovered a chilling trail. He had multiple social media accounts, many using fake names and photos to lure unsuspecting children. Messages filled with coded language hinted at dangerous intentions, revealing a network of online connections that were carefully monitored and selected. Officers found location data hidden in images and posts, giving them insight into his movements over the past months. It became clear that Keller had been observing Lily and potentially other children for weeks, studying routines and habits. Each discovery intensified the urgency, as detectives realized the full extent of the danger Lily faced. Authorities reached out to schools, local parks, and community centers, seeking information about Keller's presence in the area. Witnesses remembered seeing him lingering near playgrounds, carrying gifts, or attempting casual conversations with children. These interactions had seemed harmless at the time, but investigators now saw a deliberate pattern of grooming and manipulation. Keller's ability to appear normal to adults while hiding sinister motives made him particularly dangerous. Every detail gathered helped detectives build a clearer picture of his methodology and the environment in which Lily was being held. Meanwhile, cyber units worked to trace Keller's online activity in real time. They monitored encrypted messaging apps, searching for communication that could reveal Lily's location. Forensic analysis of his devices uncovered alarming evidence. Maps, detailed notes about children he had observed, and lists of names and addresses. The volume of material shocked even experienced investigators. Each piece reinforced the grim reality that Lily's abductor was meticulous and patient, treating the kidnapping not as a crime of impulse, but as a planned, extended operation. As the investigation progressed, law enforcement recognized that Keller's prior offenses had a pattern. They studied case files, comparing his earlier crimes to his current methods. The similarities were undeniable: careful surveillance, calculated approaches, and the use of isolation to control his victims. Detectives knew that predicting his behavior was their only chance of finding Lily before it was too late. The team coordinated with tactical units, prepared for a potential confrontation, and developed contingency plans for every possible scenario. Every decision was weighed against the clock, understanding that Keller's experience made him unpredictable and dangerous. The entire town remained on edge, their fear tempered only by the knowledge that skilled investigators were tirelessly pursuing a child predator determined to evade capture. A tip from a local resident finally led police to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. From the street, it appeared desolate, the kind of building that had been empty for years. Broken windows and rusted metal gave it an eerie appearance, but officers noticed signs of recent activity: a faint tire track, footprints in the dust, and a door that seemed recently oiled. Detectives approached cautiously, aware that Keller was dangerous and could have prepared traps. Tactical units surrounded the building, ensuring that no exit went unmonitored. Every inch of the perimeter was covered, from the roof to the surrounding alleyways, as teams moved silently, communicating through hand signals and radios. Inside, the warehouse was dim and smelled of mildew, but further exploration revealed a hidden basement. The entrance was cleverly concealed under a false floor panel, accessible only by a mechanism Keller had designed to avoid detection. The space beyond the panel was a nightmare. Reinforced locks, surveillance cameras, and strategically placed obstacles created a controlled environment that demonstrated the predator's meticulous planning. There was a small cot with a thin blanket, a few personal items, and containers of food and water. Evidence suggested that Keller had been keeping someone there for days, perhaps weeks, and had taken extreme measures to prevent escape. Investigators noted chilling details. The walls were lined with notebooks and drawings, some seemingly by children, others depicting maps and coded instructions. It was clear Keller had monitored and documented every movement, both online and offline. Small cameras were hidden in corners, and even the ventilation system was manipulated so that anyone trapped inside would have limited means of communication. Police realized that Lily's abduction was more than just impulsive. It was a carefully orchestrated operation. The level of control Keller exerted over the environment made it almost impossible for a child to flee unnoticed. As officers secured the area, forensic teams began documenting every inch of the basement. Fingerprints, discarded items, and traces of food and water were meticulously cataloged. It became apparent that Keller had used the space repeatedly, perhaps with other victims. The investigation took on a new urgency. They had to locate Lily before any additional time passed. Detectives combed through digital evidence and cross-referenced it with the physical findings. Patterns emerged, showing that Keller had been mobile, yet always returned to this location as a central holding site. The hidden room also revealed psychological manipulation. Notes on the walls, scribbled reminders, and instructions to stay quiet indicated the strategies Keller used to instill fear and compliance. Investigators recognized the mind games designed to break a child's resolve, making escape seem impossible. The combination of physical barriers, constant surveillance, and psychological control made the basement a prison in every sense. As the police prepared a plan to retrieve Lily, they were acutely aware of the danger. One wrong move could provoke Keller, putting the child at risk. Every officer understood the stakes. The success of the operation depended on precision, timing, and the ability to anticipate a predator who had spent years perfecting his methods. The tension in the building was palpable as law enforcement worked toward the moment when they could finally confront Keller and bring Lily to safety. At dawn, the operation to rescue Lily was set in motion. Tactical teams moved with precision, surrounding the warehouse on all sides while maintaining silence. The early morning light cast long shadows across the cracked pavement, adding to the tension. Every officer knew the danger. Keller had proven to be unpredictable, and one misstep could endanger Lily's life. Snipers took positions on the rooftops, while ground units prepared to breach the building at the exact moment. Inside, Keller was unaware of the growing presence outside, focused entirely on the child he had trapped in the basement. The breach was swift. Officers used battering rams and flashbangs to disorient Keller, minimizing the risk of retaliation. He tried to escape through a side door, but tactical units were already positioned to intercept him. In the chaos, Keller realized that his carefully constructed plan was collapsing. His panic was visible, and officers moved in quickly to restrain him. Meanwhile, other units made their way to the hidden basement, where Lily was found huddled in a corner, her small frame trembling but unharmed. Relief swept through the team as they confirmed her safety. She clutched a notebook filled with sketches and writings, a mix of fear and hope captured on every page. Lily was immediately escorted out of the basement and into the waiting arms of emergency responders. Paramedics checked her vital signs and offered reassurance, while detectives began carefully securing the scene. Every item in the basement was documented for evidence. Surveillance cameras, notebooks, and other items were bagged and logged, ensuring nothing would be lost for the ongoing investigation. Officers noted the psychological and physical preparation Keller had made, reinforcing how methodical he had been in attempting to control his victim. The level of planning was chilling, yet the careful coordination of the police operation had neutralized it. Keller was taken into custody, his resistance now futile. He was handcuffed, read his rights, and transported to a nearby precinct. Detectives began questioning him, uncovering additional details about his movements, methods, and intentions. It became evident that he had been planning more than just a short-term abduction. His goal had been to manipulate and isolate his victim over an extended period. The evidence collected from both his devices and the physical space in the basement painted a stark picture of his dangerous behavior. News of the rescue spread quickly through the town. Families who had been on edge for days finally felt a sense of relief. Authorities praised the teamwork, planning, and dedication that had led to Lily's recovery. The community, still shaken by the knowledge of what had occurred, began to organize support for the young girl and her family. Counselors were brought in, and community programs focused on child safety were reinforced. While the events left scars, Lily's survival became a symbol of resilience, vigilance, and the impact of coordinated law enforcement efforts. The success of the rescue served as a reminder that even in the darkest situations, preparation, courage, and determination could overcome the most dangerous threats. After Keller's arrest, the investigation shifted to building a case strong enough to ensure he could never harm another child. Prosecutors reviewed the extensive evidence collected from the warehouse, Keller's digital devices, and eyewitness accounts. Each piece painted a clear picture of premeditation and manipulation. The notebooks Lily had found in the basement, along with the surveillance equipment, demonstrated that Keller had meticulously planned the abduction and intended to maintain control over his victim for an extended period. Forensic experts cataloged every detail, from fingerprints to the digital footprint, creating a compelling narrative that left little room for doubt. Lily began therapy almost immediately, guided by specialists who helped her process the trauma she had endured. Her parents stayed by her side, providing constant reassurance and safety. Although she struggled with fear and anxiety, every day brought small victories. She could sleep through the night, she laughed again, and she spoke about the future instead of the past. The support from counselors and family became a lifeline, showing her that recovery, while difficult, was possible. Her resilience became a source of inspiration for her community, proving that even in the aftermath of a terrifying ordeal, hope could prevail. The trial of Martin Keller drew national attention. Prosecutors presented a meticulous timeline of events, from the moment he approached Lily to the discovery of the hidden basement. The defense attempted to minimize his responsibility, but the overwhelming evidence, including surveillance footage, digital correspondence, and the psychological manipulation detailed in the basement, made the case unassailable. Expert witnesses described the effects of abduction and isolation on children, emphasizing how carefully Keller had constructed a scenario to control his victim. The jury was shown Lily's sketches and writings, conveying both the fear she had endured and her courage in surviving. After weeks of testimony, the court reached a verdict. Keller was found guilty on multiple counts, including kidnapping, child endangerment, and unlawful confinement. The sentence reflected the severity of his crimes and the calculated nature of his actions. It brought a sense of justice to Lily, her family, and the wider community. Though the trauma would remain, the conviction ensured that Keller could no longer pose a threat to any child. In the aftermath, Lily's story sparked a broader conversation about child safety, online predators, and the importance of vigilance. Schools implemented new safety programs, parents became more aware of their children's routines, and law enforcement agencies emphasized the need for proactive monitoring of at-risk environments. Community members organized support networks for children and families affected by similar threats. The case became a teaching moment, demonstrating how preparation, observation, and swift action could prevent tragedy. As life slowly returned to normal, Lily and her family found ways to move forward. The experience left lasting scars, but it also revealed their strength and unity. Lily returned to school, gradually rebuilding friendships and routines disrupted by the abduction. Her courage and resilience served as a reminder that even in the darkest moments, survival was possible, and that hope, determination, and the dedication of those committed to justice could restore safety and peace.